Steelers Nation, before we get into today's story, let's take a moment to appreciate the grind this team is on. Every week, Pittsburgh is working harder to improve, fine-tuning the details, and pushing toward that standard of excellence we've come to expect from the black and gold. So before we dive in, make sure to smash that like button to show your support. It really helps the channel and lets us bring you more exclusive Steelers content straight from the heart of the action. All right, let's talk about the headline everyone's buzzing about, the NFL's punishment for DK Metcalf, what it means for the team moving forward, and the intriguing trade buzz heating up between the Steelers and the Las Vegas Raiders ahead of the deadline. The Steelers fell 35-25 to the Packers on Sunday Night Football, dropping their second straight game and slipping to 4-3. Despite the loss, DK Metcalf still made an impact. 5 catches, 55 yards, and a touchdown, his 5th of the year. But unfortunately, it wasn't just his playmaking that made headlines. With just over 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, after Jaylen Warren was forced out of bounds, Metcalf got tangled up with Packers linebacker Quay Walker. Words were exchanged, emotions flared, and Metcalf grabbed Walker's face mask, drawing a 15-yard unnecessary roughness penalty. It was the kind of mental mistake that drives coaches crazy and can shift momentum in critical moments. On Saturday, the NFL officially announced Metcalf's punishment, a $12,172 fine for striking, kicking, tripping, or kneeing. It's a standard first offense fine for that category, but it's still a notable one given Metcalf's history of playing on the edge. This marks his first fine of the 2025 season, though not of his career. Last year, he was fined over $22,000 for illegal helmet contact in Week 16 against the Bears. Clearly, the league is watching him closely, and Metcalf needs to keep his emotions in check as one of Pittsburgh's biggest stars. Here's the thing, Steelers Nation. No one doubts DK's passion. That fire is what makes him such a dominant presence. But there's a line between intensity and impulsivity. And Pittsburgh needs him on the field, not in headlines for penalties. Coach Mike Tomlin hasn't publicly criticized Metcalf, but insiders suggest that the message inside the locker room was clear. Play hard, play smart, and lead by example. Metcalf's leadership will be crucial heading into Week 9 against the red-hot Indianapolis Colts, who come into Acrisure Stadium at 6-2. With Aaron Rodgers still battling through some inconsistency and the offensive line dealing with nagging injuries, the Steelers will need DK to be the emotional anchor of the offense, not a distraction. And speaking of that offensive line, there's some major trade buzz that could shake things up before the deadline. According to Pro Football Focus analyst Josh Liskiewicz, the Steelers and Raiders could be lining up as natural trade partners before the 2025 NFL trade deadline. With Pittsburgh looking to solidify the offensive line and Las Vegas slipping out of contention, there's a potential match that makes a lot of sense. The name to watch: Jackson Powers Johnson, the Raiders' 2024 second-round pick out of Oregon. Liskiewicz notes that Powers Johnson, a versatile interior lineman who can play both center and guard, was recently benched during Vegas's Week 7 matchup against the Chiefs. That's raising eyebrows across the league, especially in Pittsburgh, where depth on the interior is suddenly becoming a concern. Veteran left guard Isaac Seumalo left the Packers game with a pectoral strain. While early reports suggest he'll be good to go against Indy, the team knows how quickly that can change. Behind him, Spencer Anderson is the next man up, but he's still developing. Adding Powers Johnson could give the Steelers an instant rotational piece with long-term starting upside. The previous regime spent a 2024 second-round pick on Jackson Powers Johnson. He's already logged over 300 snaps at each of the interior positions and could benefit from a change of scenery, wrote Liskiewicz. At just 22 years old, Powers Johnson fits Pittsburgh's current identity: young, physical, and still ascending. Pairing him with rookies Zach Frazier and Mason McCormick could give the Steelers a trio of tough, homegrown linemen who could grow together for the next decade. Let's be honest, Steelers Nation, Omar Khan has made a career of smart, aggressive moves. He rebuilt the wide receiver room with DK Metcalf, swung for the fences on Jalen Ramsey, and drafted 2 offensive linemen who are already contributing. Trading for Powers Johnson would be another calculated move to shore up the trenches before the playoff push. The Steelers are 4-3, sitting atop the AFC North, but the offense still lacks consistency. Aaron Rodgers is doing everything he can to get the ball out quickly, but protection breakdowns continue to stall drives. That's why adding another interior anchor makes so much sense. It's not just about depth, it's about long-term stability. If Khan can get Powers Johnson for a mid-round pick, say a 2026 4th or 5th rounder, it could be a low-risk, high-reward move that strengthens both the present and the future. Between DK Metcalf's fine, Seumalo's injury, and the constant turnover up front, it's clear the Steelers' offense is under real pressure. Aaron Rodgers has shown flashes of brilliance, but he's also been hit 18 times over the last 2 games. That's not sustainable. If this team truly wants to compete down the stretch, it starts in the trenches. The defense can't carry the load every week, especially with Cam Hayward nursing a groin issue and the secondary struggling against deep passes. The offense needs to control tempo, protect the football, and let Rodgers do what he does best, dissect defenses methodically. And that's exactly why the Powers Johnson trade talk matters so much. It's not just a rumor, it's a reflection of Pittsburgh's mindset, a front office that refuses to settle. Looking at the next few weeks, things won't get easier. After the Colts, the Steelers face back-to-back road games against the Browns and Bengals, followed by a primetime showdown with the Ravens. That's a brutal AFC North gauntlet, and the margin for error is razor thin. The Steelers can't afford undisciplined penalties or emotional outbursts, no matter how fired up the moment gets. DK Metcalf's fine might just serve as a timely wake-up call. This team has talent, but discipline is what separates contenders from pretenders. If the Steelers can channel their frustration into execution, limit mistakes, protect Rodgers, and keep the offense balanced, they'll not only survive this stretch, but strengthen their grip on the division. It was a tough night under the lights at Acrisure Stadium. The Steelers fell 35-25 to the Green Bay Packers, and yeah, that loss stung, especially considering it came against Rodgers' former team. But if you actually watched the game, you saw something special. Rodgers was on point. He completed 66.7% of his passes for 219 yards and 2 touchdowns. It wasn't a vintage MVP performance, but it was efficient, poised, and calculated. Classic Rodgers football. He kept Pittsburgh alive all night, making precise throws under pressure and giving his team a chance to win despite the defense's struggles.
In fact, this was Rodgers' 6th game of the season, completing over 66% of his passes, and his 5th game posting a passer rating over 100. That's elite-level consistency, especially from a quarterback in his 40s. He's not just managing games, he's still performing at a level that very few players in NFL history have sustained this late into their careers. Now here's where things get really interesting. Rodgers' former head coach in Green Bay, Mike McCarthy, was in the stands Sunday night. The two worked together for 13 seasons, won a Super Bowl, and built one of the most productive coach-QB duos in NFL history. McCarthy joined the Pat McAfee show later in the week and was asked about what he saw from Rodgers in Pittsburgh. And his answer? Pure respect. I think he's really starting to settle in. You know, his ball placement is still off the charts. He's starting to use his legs more. I thought he looked good. That's huge praise coming from someone who coached Rodgers through 2 MVP seasons and knows exactly what off the charts looks like. McCarthy isn't just being polite. He's saying that even after everything, Rodgers still has it. The pinpoint accuracy, the pocket awareness, the command of the offense, it's all still there. And honestly, Steelers Nation, you can see it. He's connecting with his guys, DK Metcalf, Roman Wilson, and even the tight ends with the kind of precision that keeps drives alive and defenses guessing. You can feel the chemistry building every week. But let's be real, Steelers Nation. Rodgers isn't exactly getting much help from the other side of the ball right now. The Steelers' defense, ranked 30th in the NFL in total yards allowed, is giving up nearly 386 yards per game. That's not something we're used to saying about a Pittsburgh defense. Because of that, Rodgers is being asked to do what he's done for most of his career, carry the team. He did it for years in Green Bay when the defenses weren't always elite, and now he's doing it again in the black and gold. Through 8 weeks, Rodgers has thrown 16 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. That's high-level production. Without him, Pittsburgh is probably not sitting atop the AFC North right now. His ability to extend plays, read coverages, and deliver under pressure has been the glue holding this team together. And just think about it. This is a guy coming off an Achilles injury, switching teams late in his career, and still outperforming quarterbacks half his age. It's remarkable. The most underrated part of all this? Rodgers' leadership. According to team insiders, he's taken full ownership of this offense. From the way he communicates in meetings to how he demands excellence on the field, this is his team now. Offensive coordinator Arthur Smith has even given Rodgers more freedom at the line of scrimmage, and it's showing. You can see him changing protections, audibling into quick screens, and keeping defenses off balance. He's not just executing the game plan, he's shaping it. And his influence on the younger guys, like rookie wideout Roman Wilson and running back Jaylen Warren, has been invaluable. Rodgers is constantly coaching them up between plays, helping them understand defensive looks and timing routes. That's championship-level leadership, and exactly what the Steelers hoped for when they brought him in. But here's the reality, Steelers Nation. Until the defense finds its footing, this offense has to keep lighting up the scoreboard. Right now, Pittsburgh is averaging 25 points per game scored and 25 points per game allowed. That's not enough separation. Heading into matchups with the Indianapolis Colts and Los Angeles Chargers, Rodgers and this offense will have to target at least 30 points a game if they want to stay ahead. It's a tall task, but with DK Metcalf, Warren, and emerging weapons like tight end Pat Freiermuth, it's not impossible. The Colts have a bottom-half defense, which could be the perfect opportunity for Rodgers to take over again. Expect Pittsburgh to open up the playbook, push the tempo, test the secondary, and let Rodgers dictate the rhythm. So, Steelers Nation, it's been a week of highs and lows. DK Metcalf's find made headlines, the injury list continues to grow, but there's also hope, and it's coming from that front office that refuses to sit still. Do you think Omar Khan should make a move for Jackson Powers-Johnson before the deadline? Would that be the right step towards solidifying the offensive line and giving Rodgers the protection he needs? And on the flip side, how do you feel about DK's fire? Is it something Pittsburgh needs to keep its edge, or does it risk costing the team at critical moments? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear from every corner of Steelers Nation. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest Steelers news, rumors, and insider updates. Because one thing's for sure, this season is far from over, and the Steelers are still in the fight to prove they belong among the AFC elite.